dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky. This is WYMT Mountain News at 11.
Good evening, I'm Olivia Calfee. CBS News has learned that the U.S. Secret Service will lead a full review of how a substance that has tested positive for cocaine got into the West Wing of the White House. That includes consulting cameras and entrance logs to determine who had access to the space, according to law enforcement officials. CBS News correspondent Nicole Skanga has more from Washington.
President Biden has been briefed on the discovery of a small amount of cocaine in the West Wing of the White House.
The president thinks it's very important to get to the bottom of this. That's why Secret Service, which is under their purview, is looking into this.
The substance was found in a small plastic bag Sunday when the president and his family were away at Camp David for the holiday weekend. The complex was briefly evacuated as a precaution. The bag was on the ground floor in a common area near the entry to the West Wing, not far from the Situation Room. It was close to a set of storage cubbies where visitors leave their cell phones during a West Wing tour.
There are camera systems that they'll go back as a part of this investigation and research. Not every camera is trained on everybody at every minute. So there's always going to be a possibility that this could go unanswered.
On Sunday, first responders were called to test the substance and determine if it was hazardous. The initial test came back positive for cocaine. A second lab analysis confirmed those results. Official visitors and White House staffers moved through the lobby where the cocaine was found.
Where this was discovered is a heavily traveled area.
White House visitors undergo background checks and enter through magnetometers, but the Secret Service does not routinely screen visitors for illicit drugs. Instead, Secret Service canine units search for explosives, biohazardous materials, and weapons. Nicole Skanga, CBS News, Washington.
CBS News has learned that the cocaine now is at a federally run laboratory. Investigators will try to get fingerprints off the plastic bag.
Well, after a few showers earlier today, most of us are dry, mild, and muggy as we go into tonight. Here's a look at First Alert Pinpoint Doppler. As you can see, a clean sweep continues across the mountains, and that will stick around as we go into tonight. But those temperatures, they are still mild and muggy out there. Most of us in the middle to upper 70s, 74 in London, 73 for Somerset, still sitting at 76 over in Jackson. The dew points, they are also muggy, upper 60s, lower 70s, and when the temperature and the dew point are close together, that is when fog starts to develop, and that is why we are watching out for some dense fog as you go into late tonight, also early on Thursday. Just the first alert, possibly some dense fog out there as you wake up and walk out the door on your Thursday. Temperatures upper 60s and lower 70s. Again, most of us are dry as we go into tonight. Only a very small chance of a stray shower, but some changes are on the way as higher rain chances return by Thursday, Friday, also into the weekend. All those details coming up in just a few minutes. Olivia?
All right, thank you, Cameron. We are learning new information about a shooting in Lexington that has left one person dead. It happened Wednesday afternoon on Tazewell Drive. Police say one person is dead and 2 boys were hurt. Timothy Fleming was at work Wednesday afternoon when he says he got a frantic call from his son. He said his son had just witnessed a shooting from his bedroom window.
He said he saw him cut through our backyard and go into a hole in our backyard that goes into a creek by the crooked tree. So I went and looked, and I saw a body back there.
Police do tell us they believe everyone involved in the shooting knew each other, but those who live in the area say it's still concerning that this happened. The coroner's office has not released the victim's official cause of death. On July 3rd, Kentucky State Police Sergeant Jared Boggs died. Since then, thousands of people have shared support and kept Boggs and his family in their prayers. Kentucky State Police Post 10 Captain Danny Caudle says it is unbelievable to see the amount of people Boggs has impacted.
It's almost unspeakable the amount of support that we've received, not just from the community, but from other law enforcement agencies reaching out from across the state and across state lines, even wanting to know what they can do to help. It's very, very comforting for not just us, but also for his family.
Flowers can be sent in memorial to Harlan Little League to support Bog's son. For more information on funeral arrangements, you can visit our website at WYMT.com. Lawmakers in Kentucky added one word to a bill, potentially changing everything for folks looking to move beyond their backgrounds. Attorneys and people hoping to clear their backgrounds say expungement is important in building a future and moving past who they were when the low-level crime was committed. House Bill 369 addressed the ability for people to request an expungement for Class D felony convictions with new language that extends that ability to cover more than one felony for an individual.
There's people out there, good people, that make a mistake. I mean, and like I said, no one's perfect. And this is great that this is getting passed, and I mean, it's going to be a game changer for a lot of people.
You can find out more about the bill and what it means over on our website. The Appalachian Wireless Arena general manager has resigned. That's according to Pikeville Mayor Jimmy Carter. Carter said the former manager Paul Bowles is now moving on. The arena's assistant general manager Larry Miller will serve as the interim GM while they conduct a search for a permanent general manager. A Lexington model is featured in Vogue magazine for her inspirational journey with alopecia. Alopecia is a disease that happens when the immune system attacks hair follicles and causes hair loss. So with no wigs and what she calls her unashamed bald head of glory, Ivy Griffin is stepping out through photo shoots to model and educate. Vogue magazine heard about her story through social media, scheduled a photo shoot, and had the grandmother of two in their online edition this week.
It kind of take a turn on its own, and it's become that because so many women that have it, see my photos and are, oh, you're so brave, and your story is so inspiring.
Griffin, who works in the medical field, says there are new treatments out for alopecia, but she feels those treatments may not benefit her because of the scarring on her scalp. But if it doesn't work, she says she's happy with the way she looks. AAA says more than 50 million people are traveling this long holiday weekend. That's a new national record, but it hasn't come without a few bumps in the road. Samantha Valentino has the details from Bluegrass Airport.
We've seen widespread flight cancellations and delays this 4th of July week. Experts say unpredictable weather and a shortage of workers are to blame. But travelers here at Bluegrass Airport tell me they're grateful to be among the few traveling without issue.
So far, everything on the app is showing that it's going to be clear, smooth sailing to get there.
Galen Hardy is off to Savannah. He spends a lot of time in the air for work. Of all the airports he's been to, he says Lexington is one of the smoothest.
It's nothing like Houston. Every time I go through Houston, I get stuck there. I'd rather fly here than I would Fort Worth, Houston.
Meanwhile, a much less experienced flyer is traveling to Florida.
I'm a little nervous. I was up all night just thinking about how the flight was going to be like. So I never been on a flight before.
Luckily, this first-time flyer is doing so without any hiccups. Unfortunately, that's not the story for Imani Khalid.
Yeah, this is embarrassing.
After visiting his sister here in Lexington, Khalid was off for a vacation in Panama until he got to the airport.
My passport expires in August, and I didn't know that you need at least 3 months in addition before your end date on your passport.
While Panama is in the 3-month club, some countries require your passport be valid at least 6 months beyond the date of your trip. The State Department says they're currently processing passports in 10 to 14 weeks. If you're planning a trip out of the country, experts recommend applying for or renewing your passport at least 6 months before you plan to travel to avoid any possible delays. In Lexington, Samantha Valentino, WKYT.
AAA estimates 43 million people traveled by car this holiday weekend. Kentuckians made up 545,000 of that number. They're predicting a more than 2% jump in Kentuckians opting to travel by car this holiday compared to last year. The Kentucky Department of Agriculture has announced July as Kentucky Alpaca Fleece and Fiber Month. In Johnson County, Lavender Springs Alpacas is one of more than 200 alpaca farms across the state and is inviting folks out to learn more about the unconventional livestock. Along with boosting tourism, these alpacas give 5 to 10 pounds of fiber each and every year, which is used for a variety of goods.
The finest fibers are going to be made into yarns and things that are really soft and against the skin. And then they have more coarse fibers that can be used for insoles and other things, but also they're starting to explore things like insulation for homes and other uses like fiber mats to collect oil.
Lavender Springs alpaca owner Ashley Alsaway added that between her 1 dozen alpacas, nearly 80 pounds of fiber is produced every year. One art center in downtown Hazard is hosting a theater camp this week for special artists. The camp, being hosted by the Appalachian Arts Alliance, is for special needs children in Appalachia to come together and showcase their artistic talent. Executive Director Tim Deaton says they felt the need to be there for everyone in the community.
This is our very first opportunity to provide programming for our very special artists, and I feel like as an organization, if we are here and we tell everyone we're here for the community, then we need to be here for all of the people in our community.
The Shooting Stars Youth Theater will showcase the special artist talent with a performance Friday at the Hal Rogers Forum in Hazard. A Hazard High School teacher has been named a Kentucky Teacher Achievement Award winner. Luke Glazer is among 22 teachers that have been selected to compete for the 2024 Teacher of the Year Award. According to the Department of Education's website, Glazer teaches calculus and pre-calculus at Hazard High School. Sarah Payton and Samuel Whitehead, both of Rowan County Senior High, were also nominated. The Teacher of the Year will be announced in September. Coming up on Mountain News at 11, could a brain chip and your smartphone be the keys to curing paralysis? We have more on exciting research being done right here in the Commonwealth.
Plus, we are watching out for showers and storms to return on Thursday. All those details coming up.